staff to be able to present the agenda items and answer any questions with any town board members who want to be here for this. So let's go ahead. Lindsay, do you want to present this now, or do you want to wait till we get to your stuff?
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'd be happy to
Okay.
present mine.
Since you gave us these fancy, actually, which number are you at the end? I can't remember. Where is Lindsay?
It's amending the employee handbook for time off.
Okay,
vacation, personal and sick
so let's hold off and then let's just go through it normally. Can you roll back up to the top soon? Thank you. So finance, Jess is not here for the finance resolutions, but the ones that stand out, New Wave Energy, that's our fixed rate natural gas. Does anybody have any questions on that? That's our 2-year term.
What did we get it at? I haven't, I'm sorry.
It's I cannot remember the number
0.46.
per CCF, CC.
0.48 CCF.
Yeah. So we're locked in there. The projection based on what we were paying with our old contract, which we were not at a fixed rate because that ran out. They're projecting a couple $1,000 savings, which isn't insignificant.
Do we know what that rate was running around before?
The previous rate, I do not have that in front of me. No.
I'm sorry, Jared, where are you? Are you working on the
I'm-
finance page?
I am pulling off of the finance and we'll just go down in order.
26.
Yep.
Okay.
So 127 is just cancel it, and this was presented earlier. I'm just gonna kind of go through some of these were already discussed when we had finance. Town hall renovations, number 129 are ready to go through. That is so they can start putting more time into it and the approval that they can actually start spending real time on it and know that they'll get paid for it.
So you're following finance and planning and public works, you're just doing it that order as opposed to the order we're gonna be reviewing them at the board meeting?
No, this should be the order. This should be the
There's like
same
that
order.
summary in the beginning.
I'm on the summary page in the front, under resolutions and motions.
Well, I only ask because it seems like we are missing some of the orders. So like authorization to transfer funds to the website improvement, and public communication announcement, 125.
Mhm.
Mention that one, and that's one of the first ones we're talking about. Or the secret.
I did,
determined
sorry,
111.
let's go back up. You are 100% correct. I was looking at that one as the continued one. So I'm sorry about that, John. Thank you
That's okay.
thank you for sharing that. So let's pop up. So since this one was not on the other one because we didn't have it at time. The budget transfer of funds for website improvement and public communication enhancement.
Wait a minute, there's one.
It's short-term rental for
For
that.
short.
It's a continued
secret
resolution.
You're right.
determination of non-significance and adoption. of-
Okay, let's go to, I'm
Go
not,
back to the beginning. What
the other
happened?
meeting crushed my brain. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
They crushed my brain. Okay, starting with continuing resolutions, number 111. We do have a secret determination for short-term
STRs.
rentals. I cannot get that out of my mouth either. Any comments or questions on this
Yeah.
one?
I'm sure we will. but-
So we are going to at some point present the updated ordinance for community review.
So in the attachments, you have the ordinance as it was sent prior. And Sarah came up with the changes and shared changes with it that are the key changes within the short-term rental. The difference is that this one has that the other one did not.
There's a
But I
public
don't
hearing
think that's-
before it under presentations to continue public hearing.
So there is a public hearing of it
Yes,
on.
on the 20th.
20.
Okay. That's
So,
my question.
yeah, so public hearing. Any questions on those proposed changes that we had discussed, like 16 to 12, parking?
Right.
All of those are included and kind of summarized.
Can I ask you a question about
Yes.
public hearings? We've had the last couple of had public hearings. We've had our discussion has been during the actual resolution part of it. A lot of times the public just leaves after the
Mhm.
public hearing is over. I'm wondering if we should think about having our discussion during the public hearing or how you guys
That's
feel.
fine. I try to open the floor to any board members who want
You
to,
always ask, but we
but
tend to
typically
defer it
it's
over.
deferring. I don't see any,
I just feel like
problem with that.
they're missing.
and
our
that would give,
conversation.
especially if it's later on in the agenda.
Yeah.
This one, it's right up there because it's continued, but if it's later on in the agenda, then they would miss out on that discussion. I have no problem with
What do
that.
you guys think?
I think it's probably a valid point, you know, sometimes people get up and head for the door.
They think it's done.
Yeah.
So,
So in a public hearing, correct, just to get to that point, it can be a dialogue versus privilege of the
Somewhat.
floor.
can't really answer questions.
It's not a question and answer. It's
So-
not,
If
We
we,
can ask
if
our
we,
questions.
but if we have our discussion, then it's gonna lend itself to people thinking, now this is a dialogue between the town officials and the public.
no, because then we make it clear that now we'll have our dialogue between ourselves.
Then we need to make that clear.
That it's not a
Yeah.
question and
Yeah.
answer.
Well, they can ask all their questions and go back and forth, and then if one of them brings up a question that we also have, we can say, you know, as Jimmy Joe Bob said, I'm
Mhm.
also concerned about blah, 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 you know what I
Right.
mean, so,
Mhm.
but.
Yeah, that would be totally fine. To have that discussion.
I just
And,
feel like they think
clarify
that
that
we're
more.
not listening to them sometimes, if
Yeah,
you have it later
yep,
and
I
they
think
aren't
we-
there.
It's a good PR thing.
Yep.
Just People
It's
may
just
go
good
think
for
their
them to
voices
know
are heard,
what's,
yeah.
Okay.
what, you know, where the direction's going to.
All right,
Sorry.
no, that's good. So we'll go through that. Did you have something? Okay, you took a breath like you were ready to go out there and help with the technology again. Okay, so any questions on 125 then? The budget transfers for the website improvement and public communication enhancement. That's one that Jim graciously kicked in and was
Oh, yeah.
willing to do that, transferring from the sign. The reason this has to be first is we have to transfer the money to public communication to the budget line that we're gonna spend later on for the two services. Okay, so we have gotten down to we'll just go right through. Any questions on 126?
That's the rate. We just-
Right.
The rate review, 127 is outstanding checks. 128 is amendments to the 2024 fee schedule, removing the cabins that we talked about.
So we are modifying the fee for short-term rentals to $300 for 1 year, right?
But I
Yes.
think we have to pass that first before we modify the fee schedule.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I agree
Yes.
with that, and that's
but yeah, we are.
question that it's out of order now, isn't it?
No, it's.
No, we
not.
should still be
It's
okay
the
with the
first one.
resolution first. If we approve or disapprove that, depending on the outcome of that, will have an effect on the fee schedule, which would be, it would remain the same if we don't pass that ordinance.
Short-term rental's the first thing on. the
Yeah, it's
agenda.
the first thing on.
Yeah.
And there was some clarification to try to clarify some of the wording on there. That it's $300. That we're not changing it from 900 to 300. We're changing, rather than 900 for 3 years, 300 for 1 year. That was a little clarified a little bit. 129 is again, town hall renovations. 130, purchase of 3 hard copies for the town of Canandaigua Reconnaissance Level Survey Part 2. Any questions on that?
Yeah, what is this?
So a few years ago, we received a grant from Labella to do a reconnaissance survey, I think, or maybe we received a grant and we engaged with a company to look at historic homes, do a historic survey within the town. So they went through and they took pictures of all the properties, they graded them, they rated them, they marked them for historic significance. It's basically to protect and preserve, as a lot of these properties are starting to be lost.
We talked about this in finance.
So, yeah, so this one, now that their step one has been finished for a while. And we provided copies for Wood Library. And for these agencies that are listed here, we provided copies for them. Now that level step 2 is done, we are going to provide the next set of copies for these next agencies to have a permanent record. And because it was not budgeted in the historian's budget for this year, we needed to find some money for that.
Similar to the barns.
Right.
The Barnes project, yeah, the Barnes project and that, yeah. And this goes back years. That at least 5 or more years that this has been going on, probably more than that, yeah. Okay, but number 131, increased salary for highway and water superintendent. Any questions? We talked about that one. 132, appropriation of fund balance from the general fund to purchase a new vehicle. That's the vehicle price came back 17 higher than 13 higher than was budgeted. Because rather than going with a little compact SUV, we're going to a truck,
Right,
which is much more appropriate for code enforcement. And that probably should be the trend. We probably should need more, we'll need more than one truck eventually for code enforcement.
Usually you include a boot scraper.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
that's what they're for.
Big
And then 133
is a boot
Oh.
scraper.
133 is updating the investment policy and adding Muni Trust as an approved office depository. And like we discussed, they're another source that we can use to deposit our money, depending on their rates, what their rates are, and they can compete for our money. All right, planning and public works. Jim, do you wanna,
So 134 is a resolution for Bridge, New York. And this resolution is being asked by the town board to approve to say that the town of Canandaigua is committed to funding this project for 2.1 million, I don't know the exact number, is what you are telling the state. The state's gonna reimburse us 1.5 million of 2.1.
procedural,
This is
we
procedural.
just have to
Correct.
say we're good for
Less
it.
than 2.5.
All right, any questions on that one?
Can you just explain the same thing again when we're on the actual town board meetings?
135,
So this
wanna
year,
walk through that one?
we are being determined that we're gonna take lead agency on a non-significance or a non-neg deck declaration for the water project. And this is part of one of 4 resolutions that we have to do in this order in order to do our bond resolution, which we'll get to.
Water replacement. Water main replacement. Where?
This is Middle Cheshire Road.
Okay.
This is the $5 million WIA grant that we're asking for.
Yep.
And then if we're successful, the town board would then have to put in 3 million.
Yep.
And come up with 8 million to move forward with the project.
Is it important that it's say Middle Cheshire here somewhere? I don't see that.
And
Am I missing it?
I believe it's gonna be in the actual Word document of the detail,
Okay.
but not in the actual word
Resolution.
of the resolution.
Okay.
There is a public hearing for this related to this resolution. Is that Greg Hotelli gonna be presenting, who's gonna be presenting at the public hearing
So this
for
public,
residents of Middle Cheshire Road?
no, actually, it's not just a residence area, this is
Well,
a
it's,
water district.
yeah, but we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. But until we know we get the WIA grant,
Yeah.
we're not even at the point of that discussion with the residents yet.
Are they gonna mention the Middle Cheshire Road?
It is mentioned in the detail that,
Is he gonna mention it? Who is doing this public hearing?
so you've already opened the public hearing, which we did last month.
What's gonna happen?
So we're gonna close this public hearing at this board meeting. And then from there, the estoppel notice will be posted from the town clerk in the paper.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is aimed at that road,
Okay,
and I don't think public is worried.
Because we aren't doing anything, we're just
well,
applying to do something.
I think, I don't know if we're getting ahead of the cart here, because we don't even know if we're doing it if we don't get the WIA grant.
we're not doing it, there's no public hearing, right, what, if we don't get the
Well,
money.
we're doing the public hearing because of the purpose of.
Right.
We're going to do
To
a
bond,
bond
we
resolution.
gotta
so
bond the
it's-
money.
Our documents are all the road for the WIA grant.
Right,
But our documents show a range of costs. to People,
In Canada.
with and without.
Without, that's correct.
But that's,
So at what point do we say, after we get the grant, then we see if people want to do it?
Well,
And
if
they
that,
don't, then we spend the money someplace else.
if you don't get the money, you're gonna pay the higher amount, if the
If
town
we
board
decide to
should
do it.
move forward.
That's my whole point.
But this,
That,
so.
seems like this is a little,
So into the. So I mean, this is exactly the process that MRB has laid out. And I believe it's a similar process that we've used before with the steps that we have to take to line up everything for application for the bond.
Correct.
So,
We're lining up the information.
Right.
With the application.
right, so we're doing, and they're the steps that we have to follow. It's a timeline, and then it was shared maybe a month or two ago in one of the agendas that they laid out the timeline and said, these are the steps you have to follow. Here's when you have to do it. This is the order.
and
But I
every time
think-
we've done this in the past, we said, here's the project. This is why we're doing. this.
Right. To the
Here, we're not.
Well, I don't agree with that, 'cause we are in the detail of the paper. The resolution might not say Middle Cheshire, but it also doesn't say Wells Curtis. Because those are the two areas we're looking at. But in the report, the report spells out the detail, which is with the resolution. Here's the area that we're doing the improvements.
Report meaning the attachment.
The attachment, yes, there's a map where it's Middle Cheshire, Wells Curtis.
I guess.
And I think the other thing is, it's not gonna be the amounts listed in there are listed just for that purpose. It's gonna be spread through, this is a cost for the entire district.
Well, that was based on the number of.
That was just based on that.
So this is based on the entire water district.
So the entire water district, so this project is done, it's kind of like the plant, the towers. It's gonna be spread, the cost will be spread through the entire water district.
Correct.
So while Middle Cheshire Road and Wells Curtis Road will have the brunt of the construction, and if the grant goes through, we'll definitely have to have public meetings and saying, here, it's gonna be a significant water project. These are the dates, this is when it's happening, here's the timeline and schedule. But as far as presenting, here's the cost, do you wanna vote for it, yes or no? A presentation would have to be to the entire, it's gonna affect the entire Canandaigua Water District.
Does the water district have to vote on this, or is it just?
No, it's up to the town board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
We're
a
not
town board
extending,
action.
we're not expanding, it's not like the sewer, the
Yeah.
sewer. They had that, so we have that decision to say, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and, like the water tank. We have that same decision, are we gonna do it? Or are we not gonna do it? You know, when we have funding for that.
I think what Terry's
My
alluding
point
to
is
is
that when we did that project with the bank up on the hill, that was the project that what we were in yet.
Right.
Here is not really clear. what we're
Okay.
aimed at. This is a possibility that we're going to use this money to replace ACP pipe on Little Cheshire Road. It's buried in the detail.
Right,
Right there.
Right.
And,
and that was the direction.
I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying, I don't. you
I
know,
see that
this is the
direction.
Title we gave this project.
I just wanna say that when the public hearing notice went out about this, it did reference all those specific areas. Middle Cheshire, Wells Curtis.
Well, let me ask a question. Is it a problem to modify the resolution to include verbiage that says it's Middle Cheshire and Wells Curtis?
Did we get any instruction from MRB about the title of
This
this?
was written. No, actually.
By Nadler?
Wrote it, so, and I believe this is the title that we are going to give to Cedar. Like, it's not the Middle Cheshire Road Water Main Improvement.
Right.
Can have a consolidated water district.
Does the improvement improve the district as a whole?
It does, because
Yeah.
Middle Cheshire Road is like a transmission main. It feeds.
Yeah, so I think,
Everything gets fed off.
Yeah.
Because it comes directly off the transmission main from the pump station.
I think this is valid discussion for Monday, and if there's a reason why it was written that way.
Well, what, I mean, what
But if he
if
says-
I don't want to be lazy.
No, I know, but if he says, I
What if
think,
they go on Johnson Road? What if they go on part of Road 16? I mean, if you specifically say it's just this road, this
Yeah.
road, this road, then, I mean, then there might be a problem going forward.
Well, you know, Alan, to your point, that may happen. And the reason is 2 years from now, let's just say costs have exceeded what we've estimated. You may not do Wells Curtis Road. You may only do 3/4 of Middle Cheshire Road. I mean, this is 2 years out before we start this project,
Mhm.
so.
and I wanna say that was some of the reasoning for the way it was written and put together.
because I don't disagree with what Terry's asking.
Right.
But I also feel that the information is there.
You just say
And you know what?
general area of Terry Fennelly's house.
Yeah. And we can, so we can move on and, yeah, not spend too much time on this. We can also put that out through, media platforms and communication. And say, this is what's happening. This is what it is.
The way we don't have is it actually going here, because people have those questions. At this
Right.
point, we don't have an answer of the
Right.
exact locations. Middle Cheshire Road, we're gonna have to work on the details.
No, I realize, I mean, Greg's advice was good advice, that you should apply every year for this, that's what we're doing. This is what we all wanting to do. But at some point, I think we should make it more, if we get the award. Then I think it's really important to let the whole water district know.
Dial it in.
We gotta nail it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, we feel,
We're,
those of us who are here then.
we're spending it and this is why, and this is the benefit. So you're 100% correct. Let's move on. Okay, all right.
Sorry.
136.
Thank you. 136. Accepting the proposal from MRB for Ononda, the bathhouse design. They included that, so we'd have a complete number.
Yeah, so there were two numbers in here. One was, we'll call it schematic design, and another to bring it to life. With the thought that every town force is building it. We're not capable of building this energy efficient building makes everything. So I'm recommending you just do the 35,000 to be approved so that you folks can have a complete drawing of everything that's needed of what it's gonna look like. Then take, once you approve it, take that information and put it out to bid.
Is that in the attachments? I haven't seen the attachments yet, so. So they indicate one cost for an
Yes, there is
energy
a-
efficient building and one
Yeah.
cost.
And another cost to get you to say for town forces to build.
Okay,
They don't provide, it doesn't include bid documents, bid bonding, advertisement, construction observation, construction inspection. That's not in that cost.
okay.
So you just mentioned a number, Jim, of 35,000.
Yeah.
This resolution says 93,000. So
There are two.
am I missing something?
There's 36 and 37.
38, yeah.
So,
There,
Exceed 93,000.
well, that 37 says 120.
Well, we'll review that, I'm sorry, that must be my, I apologize. The 130 is a different resolution for upland improvements, that one is 120.
Yeah, yep.
We just might have to change the 136 at the board meeting, John,
Okay,
to change the amount, I apologize.
no, that's all right, as long as we get it clear.
Okay,
That will be
that's my
changed to
fault.
So does
the
it?
35 year.
so don't,
Do they need to be fixed?
Change
Don't-
the meeting.
We
No,
can
we'll
hand
change-
you-
don't correct it. We'll change it at the meeting.
Yeah.
I'm still with other things. It's not a problem.
Well, it was already
I
sent
don't know
out.
the
It's already
amount.
sent
No, it hasn't been sent out to the general public. This is still-
Isn't it in the attachments?
It is in the attachment. yes.
MRB's
The correct
proposal.
amount, or?
Yeah, there's two numbers in there,
Okay.
so I
But if
just
there's
don't know.
something, I
what's
can
on
still
that.
fix stuff on the agenda for Monday.
No, let's we can change it at the meeting. That's fine. Yeah. Everybody comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay.
35 is a lot more palatable than 93
Yeah.
Yes. For that
for
scope.
that particular scope.
Yep. And then we have 138.
Let's go to 137.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were on, so 37 is the upland improvements.
So tell me what that means, upland improvements.
That is for the.
Road.
I wish I had shown up the campus, I apologize. What it is we're looking at utilities, you're looking at gas, electric, septic system. Road being put in, I don't want to say survey,
Site design, utility evaluation.
sewer planning, stormwater planning.
All the safety things.
So basically what we're doing
Just the
is,
site?
well, what we're doing is we're gonna get a plan that says, here's where utilities are going, here's your stormwater plan. Here's what it may cost for utilities to get up the hill. Like, we don't know if we have to up the sides.
Does this accommodate utilities to each individual cabin and connections to each individual cabin?
It will, because we will have a engineer report back from the electrical engineer of the current conditions we have and what we have to do to either upsize it to bring it up the hill to the bathhouse, because for the bathhouse, we're gonna bring power out to the buildings.
To each
Each cabin.
individual building,
Correct.
so. I'm okay, I just wanna make sure that the proposal for the contract includes design for the utilities to each individual building.
So we're going to get the information to design it from this cost,
Okay,
is what you're authorizing on Monday.
so then we're gonna get another bill at
That
some
is
point
correct. For
to
the,
do the design from the mains to the individual buildings.
correct. Because right now, no one knows if we currently have on site or a transformer and size of wire from the road to get it up the hill, that has to be
Okay,
performed.
so I have to ask this question just because I want to put up for the benefit of my constituents and ask the question, why do we want to engage MRB versus engaging someone else to do this? Or getting pricing from someone else to do this?
I always say MRB's been one who's designed it up to this point, like,
Okay.
we've had several iterations of even this
Okay,
drawings of what the park committee and the town
All the
board
concepts.
actually has put together, and also we're gonna probably start backwards again.
Yep.
Because MRB already knows,
so they did the conceptual on
Yep.
this. Did they do the design development also on this, or is this part of this 120?
that's part of, we still do design development in 120.
And bid documents?
Well, some of this, like the leach field, the town forces to do.
Okay,
Okay, but like the water main, the town forces to do.
Yep.
But that water main is called, basically an extension, so we'll have to set a set of drawings, we'll have to go to Department of Health to be approved, so that's, again, part of the cost.
Yeah.
The electric, there may be fees involved with RGB to set transformers or buckets or larger wire. We can get it up to the building, but electrician will have to take over from there for termination. We have the stormwater pollution prevention plan that we have to put together,
Yeah.
and the stormwater sequence for our SWIP that we'll have out there, because we'll, should be less than 5 acres, but more than one of disturbance.
Okay.
We'll have to have for that.
okay, so you basically answered my question. I mean, we've worked with MRB conceptually to get where we're at.
Mhm.
It's probably more cost effective with that, if we have them continue with the design.
In this point, yeah, because I would rather not go back and try and find, and then also, if we're still using ARPA funding, which I believe we are, we might be going backwards with time,
Yeah.
and time may become an issue if there's one to start again. John.
That's probably even a stronger
Okay.
reason. Yep.
Thank you.
That's what I was gonna
You spend
confirm
money
that-
again to
Yeah.
get to this point, because everything that's been done is their property, so
Mhm.
you would wind up having to.
Start all over, right?
I like the explanation too about the ARPA funds, that's, and the timing, that strengthens the argument of why to use them.
That was also what I wanted to confirm. This is the ARPA line, right? This HH 100.
Yeah, I got that right from, Jess.
Yes.
Yes,
So yeah, that's where it's pulled.
Thank you for that explanation.
you're welcome, John.
Mhm. All right, is that our next one? So 138, this is another one related, this is another one written by Nadler. Public interest order pursuant to town law relating to the construction of the water system improvements. Again. Questions on this one?
Well, I belabored the point before, so.
Yeah, okay.
Just so the board knows, there are like 4 resolutions that we have to do in this order.
Mhm.
So if you don't do it in this order, it's technically not done according to financial requirements, thank you, John, to get us to the end of this bond resolution approved.
And I also wanna say too, that the amount of time and effort everybody put in to try to pull all these things together for the agenda. There's a lot going on right now between projects for Onanda, for town hall, for the water project, there's a lot of moving parts right now. People are doing well, you know, it's a lot to pull this together, so thank you for everybody who,
Terry, 139
Pull
will
it
take
together.
Middle Cheshire in there. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so 139. The bond obligation. Still related to the WIA project.
Correct. This is your third resolution. I think there's one more after that. I think.
140 standard workday for town board member. Not associated with the WIA project for the bond.
I like signing.
141, Edward Deutschlander. To the ECB.
Oh. Do we have his, any information about floating around in the attachments, you know?
Look up there, look to the right,
Oh, perfect.
yeah,
Wow,
So
I didn't
there's-
even know Sue was doing that.
there's information behind him for his, that he sent into the ECB, it's behind your head, John. You don't need to turn around, it's just a lot of words.
It's just a
Huh?
word.
Yeah, it is. Sorry. Did I say right? Man, I'm losing it, Terry, that's why I need you. Seasonal employees, I'll go back and let people start presenting their own, I think we're back with those, Lindsay,
That's standard, this is just our standard seasonal employee resolution.
okay? Gonna do the CEO. Since our other CEO is
Yes.
still being trained and and he's off again.
He starts on May 20th. We're very excited to have him. We had about a 2.5-hour interview with him, and then we brought him in for a second, and he still wanted the job, so
Mhm,
that's
yeah.
great. Very qualified. He does have his CEO certification, and he worked for a previous municipality before that, so I'll be really excited to introduce you guys to him once he starts.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Where do you come from?
The city of Geneva.
Oh,
Hilariously enough, he took.
He took-
training programs for-
He took Murphy's job at the city of Geneva
no,
And now he's.
coming here. Good guy, very happy to be here and very impressed with how
Yes.
things are done here. And grateful for the change and the opportunity to move west.
He's giving you this copy.
Lives in Far,
Yes,
it's,
he was supported in this move.
Yeah, it's
by
the-
his supervisor.
and it's the city, so I don't have to interact with them at any board meetings. It's not the town at least. Appointment, Jim, you wanna do?
And so this year, Brecken and Audit, we started the transfer station, we brought in full-time as a laborer. At the highway department, we have it down at CDL, and we had a resignation about 2 months ago. And he is gonna fill this position.
We're very excited.
Awesome.
you did a good
For-
job out there. Transfer.
Yeah.
He did,
Mhm.
yeah.
And he's done a very good job in the role he's had since the transfer
Yeah.
station as well. Very ambitious individual and
For multiple reasons, that's awesome,
yeah.
just multiple reasons. Saw him on Cooley waving me through a couple times, that big old smile on his face. Yeah, he's a good egg, okay, awesome. The open space policy and procedure, so the open space document,
Why are we doing this?
we're just approving it.
Don't we already have?
We have not approved, this was done and sitting around for a long time and had not been approved. That's something that planning had requested and asked to be put in there. So it's basically adopting the work that we have done. Public hearing for cable television franchise agreement with Spectrum. This one has been on the radar to do for about 5 or 6 years. They finally reached out, requesting this information and redoing the franchise agreement. Basically, it's right now we charge, it's a $3 charge, it's a $3 charge that comes on everybody's phone bill. Oh, okay, thanks, I gotta pop upstairs. So it's a $3 charge on everybody's phone bill We get about 80 or about 90,000, 80 to 90,000 a year from it, with like 2,900 customers in the town. So this, looks at that to see, if that's accurate, where it fits. So the agreement really reflects the actual number of users, and it's for, TV. It's not for internet. So this is Spectrum TV users within the town. And as part of this discussion with them, we only have 18 homes, residences in the town that are not served by some sort of fiber. So we only have 18, which is pretty good. So that's not too bad. All right, I've got to pop upstairs. So do you wanna
Sure.
go
Can't
through
answer any
and run
questions
through?
on it, but I can
Yeah.
read it.
Well,
Next one
the
looks like
rest,
Lindsay probably
Yeah,
knows
let-
about it,
Let me ask a question on that
God.
Spectrum.
yes,
I noticed it's a 15-year agreement.
yes.
What's the benefit of going to such a long term?
That is, there's no benefit. It's standard for them. I think so they don't have to renew them constantly. They have them on longer periods. Honestly,
Cost per year. I mean,
the cost adjusts. Yeah, it's adjusted a little bit, but not a whole lot. It's not a whole huge clean sweep every year. But I know right now, we're probably getting more than we should from them. Because we probably have more, our numbers say we have more homes than actually do. So in that case, as the number of homes with cable television probably will decline, the longer is probably in our better interest. Rather than going year to year, we might decline more, but the longer range, if you spec it out, it's not gonna really increase a whole lot. I hope I should be back.
All right, cool. So the next one looks like Lindsay will know all about. It's
First, I
one
apologize for the very
47,
small print, so I did. have
amending
that.
the vacation sick leave and personal leave.
Not much bigger print.
Oh, geez.
Not much bigger.
Significantly
So much
different.
better.
I can actually read this one with my glasses.
And she only gave Terry and I an updated one, so.
I know, we got the updated one.
I will
Did you get
email
two?
it out
Okay.
also, so you
I
can
was
view
just
it
gonna
and
say
do
there might be
it.
some major concerns there.
So I thought it was important for me to at least get this information to the town board, so you know the research that I've done and had information available to you before reviewing this resolution. So I reviewed our vacation, sick and personal leave policies, and I found that our policies are not competitive with the surrounding areas, and I am recommending the following changes. The most important document though, with what I gave you, would be the red line version of our handbook. The reason I think this is really important for you to view is because it shows what I'm changing and what I'm changing it to. In the resolution, it is only telling you the changes that you are approving. So I thought it was important for you to see where we were and where we're coming from.
Yeah, can you say it? Cause I can't really read it there either. How far into this is that? Is this 18, attachment 18?
So the packet that I gave you, Adeline,
Oh, it's in there.
it's
too.
in there. And the attachment, the entire handbook's in there, so I wanted to simplify it for
Okay,
the
good.
board
Page
right now.
162.
Thank you. Good God. Had I done that?
This is this. Like this.
Correct, yep, so what you
This is
see in the
very important.
spreadsheet examples is the research that I have done with other municipalities that gave me what their vacation and sick time policies are. It also put our current policy and then what I'm proposing in red. So it's just a lot of multiple documents just to show the research that I have done and why I am suggesting those changes.
Can you say some highlights? 'Cause
Absolutely.
I'm a little overwhelmed with all the.
Okay.
papers.
No problem. So the biggest change has to do with our vacation leave policy. The biggest benefit would be for our new hires. Presently, a new hire has to wait, they can wait up to 18 months before they are credited any vacation leave at all. And that is just, it's the biggest negative feedback
Horrible.
that I've received from a lot of our newer staff and people that I talked to about bringing on over here. They're like, I can't do that. No vacation time for 18, up to 18 months is not acceptable. So this changes it where at the day of hire, they get 10 days of time. But they are not able to carry over that vacation time after they hit their year. At their year anniversary mark, then they will follow suit with what our existing employees get as far as accrual. And the reason for that is so it's just part of that probationary period, just to set some limitations for that. For existing employees, what I am proposing to stay competitive and changing is how we accrue our vacation time. So currently, it would take us, just for an example, it would take us 7 years in order to get 3 weeks of vacation time. I find that unacceptable, especially when I'm looking at other municipalities that you see in your chart, Town of Victor, City of Canandaigua, and City of Geneva. Their employees between years 1 and 5 get 3 weeks right off the bat. So to stay more competitive, that accrual time follows suit with that. So years 1 through 4, employees get 15 days, years 5 through 14, they get 20 days, 15 through 24 years of service, you get 25 days. And then if someone is here for 25 plus years, they get 30
So
days.
five days for every 5 years. you're there.
Essentially,
So-
yes.
So let me ask you a question. If you're a new hire, you get 10 days, and at your 1 year anniversary, they had another, there's no carryover. I guess 2 years would do that. So they would have 15 days. So if they, on January 1st, is what you'd say, you get their 15 days?
So for new employees, I am suggesting that we do it on their anniversary date.
Okay, so on their anniversary, they get another 5 days. The day after their anniversary, they quit. Do we pay them the 15 days?
No, there's no payout. For those 10
There is a
days.
payout for vacation
Yeah,
time.
there is a payout.
So that is why I put in here that they can't carry over their time. So if they decided on day 2 of their 1 year anniversary, to your point, yes, they do get that 3 weeks, but that would be the same for anyone else,
Right, so we'd have to pay them that 15 days.
but not up the additional 2 weeks.
But before, right, but if they were on their 2nd year is what I'm saying, then it would be 50, we
Yeah,
would
but
pay
that's our
them
current
15
policy, yes,
days,
that's our
yeah.
current
All right,
policy.
So, a follow-up question is, how does this affect current employees?
That's a great question. So I did put in the resolution that if this was to be approved, that we would then up our current staff to meet the current, or the newly approved.
which is totally fair,
policies.
right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
so everyone
So
would
anyone under a
essentially,
year
Right.
would take the dues
Correct.
of the state, and
Yep.
over a year is already defined anyway.
exactly, yep, that was a great question, John, thank you.
So somebody starts May 1st. They get between May 1st and December 31st. How much time did they take off?
10 days.
They can take the 10 days,
Is that between May 1st and December, or May 1st and May 1st?
May 1st and May 1st.
Yeah, so 10 days.
And that's what
between
I'm
May
trying to
1st.
get to is for everyone to have that on their anniversary date versus this January 1st. Now, there's a lot of existing employees, but there's also a lot of new employees who were hired this year where we just have to start rebalancing that.
So you wouldn't reload January 1, you would reload anniversary.
Yeah.
One, that's also incentive as well. It's almost recognition. It is recognition.
Yes,
Okay, I hit my 5-year anniversary. Whoop, I'm excited on my
Yeah,
anniversary. I
yeah.
did that extra,
it's
extra
motivation to
week.
stay too.
It
I mean,
is.
it-
Versus the January 1st where for someone like, I'm just gonna use myself as an example, I was hired in March. I have to wait almost an extra year to gain based on our current policy, I have to wait almost an extra year to gain that extra day. Whereas I would prefer to have it on my anniversary date, you know,
Yeah, that makes
that's-
sense.
But I think Terry's question was if you started May 1st, that you would have 10 days off between then and December 31st. That's
No,
not correct.
Between
So
that
it's,
and May 1st.
okay. That's hard to keep track of.
Between May 1st and May 1st.
May 1st, right,
Correct.
1 year apart.
I start May 1st, I could take 10 days off in June.
if your
Yes.
department head approves it.
Well, yeah, but you could do that.
Yes.
That's okay.
Well, most of the
Does this-
situations like that, like, I mean, I've had situations like that in my past. When I would be in the interview process indicating I have a pre-planned vacation for these dates, is that okay, or do you want me to start afterwards kind of
And
thing?
add on to your point, that occurs with a lot of our new
Yeah.
staff that we bring on, and I mean. Obviously, the town and the town board is very generous in the sense that we give them that time off, but it's unpaid. And it's also at the discretion of the department head, also part of the hiring decision and all that stuff, but this, gives them an opportunity, I believe, to be.
Makes us
Really
more competitive,
complicated, it
yeah,
does.
that's what makes us more, we have to give
Correct.
people 10 days.
Say you
vacation.
become much more liberal. It took me 5 years to get 2 weeks off, so. But that's in the past. Let me forget what it was.
Oh no, sorry.
So this makes it, even though this is larger, it's still difficult to read.
Sorry,
This-
sorry. Terry.
This would match up with Victor city, Geneva, then?
Correct, correct.
Identical across the board,
Comparable.
what's comparable?
So 2 out of the 3 have that same exact policy for the 3 weeks. The only difference is that a couple do prorated, so City of Geneva does prorated for the first year. Town of Victor, they do at 6 months, they get vacation time. I do know that the City of Canandaigua is also having similar struggles as far as being competitive, and they are looking at changing their policies as well to give 2 weeks of
Yeah,
vacation
they
at
had
time
a
of hire.
electronic sign in North Street the other day.
I mean, you
Trying to
know,
sign people.
you know what's going on in the employment world. You are familiar with how the world is working right now, and you know what people are asking for and looking for and expecting from their
Correct.
public employers, I think.
And I do think this is the most fair and competitive option for us. That is why I wanted to show you that I did do research. This is not just something that I'm pulling from thin air. You know, I've reached out to multiple municipalities and had some really great conversations with them. But the vacation leave would be the biggest change that is on this resolution. But you will note in there, it does also say our personal and sick policies, so I really wanted to touch base on that very quickly. Those are very minor changes, but still changes nonetheless. For our, let's see, so for personal and sick time.
What page are you
Oh, I'm
It's in her
sorry.
little, it's in the end, the personal leaves at the last page.
Sick leave is 803.
Personal leaves 805.
So for sick leave, for our new employees, currently, they have to work 6 months before they're credited 48 hours of sick time, and they accrue 8 hours every month after that. I am proposing that once they start, that following month, they started to accrue the 8 hours right off the bat. I mean, we want to encourage people, if they're not feeling well, we don't want them to come in and spread sickness.
Yeah.
We need to give them the ability to use that sick time for when they're sick. Again, it's, you know, it's all approved by the department head. I was also proposing, based on the research that I have done with other municipalities, instead of having to use increments of less than 1 hour, I am proposing that it can be used in 15-minute increments versus the 1 hour.
What does that mean?
So if I wanted to take, if I had a doctor's appointment, yeah, I would have to use a whole entire hour of time presently. But if my appointment, say I attached it to my lunch, really was only 15 minutes of working time, I wouldn't be able to put in that time. I would have to use an entire hour.
Yeah, it does.
How can you get in and out of the doctor's office in
So
15?
she's saying.
No,
she
with
wouldn't
your
take a
lunch, like if you take your lunch, so some of us,
So how about this example?
Okay.
If you have a doctor's appointment at 4 o'clock and it's 10 minutes away, you leave at 4:15 and your shift finishes at 4, you're technically only needing to use 15
15
minutes, but the current policy requires you to use an hour.
So either you would have to leave earlier than you need to, or make up that time or lose that pay.
Yep, makes sense. Did you take a peek at all at maternity leave in this?
so I'm actually, that is on my list to do some more research on and get some data and present that either next month or the following.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
My feedback on the 15 minutes is, I think it's kind of what the word is, nitpicky, I guess, used that word yesterday. I think it would be more equitable for all involved, if it said 30 minutes maybe rather than 15. But I don't feel that strongly about it one way or another.
So carrying over sick leave,
Mhm.
what, I mean, why wouldn't we just use that in the calendar year?
So our current policy is that we can carry sick leave over up to 1,500 hours, so that has to do with retirement.
Okay,
So there is an option for staff members, which is in our policies, where an employee can essentially, I mean, if they accrue up to that 15 hours.
which
that
is
can be-
187 days.
Correct, you can use that towards your retirement, so
Mhm.
essentially it equates to about 6 months.
Right,
That they can add onto their retirement so they can retire early.
okay.
But again, we also have things in place for sick time where if we have policies in place so you can't abuse sick time. So for example, if you are out for 3 days straight, I need a doctor's note
Mhm.
saying that something is seriously wrong with you. We don't care what the matter is, it's just to document that someone's not abusing it or using it as vacation time. They also cannot our employees cannot use sick time prior to a paid off holiday. So again, that's to avoid abusing sick time. Sick time is strictly for appointments, caring for other individuals, caring for oneself, that sort of thing. So there are things in place so we can't abuse sick time.
If somebody accumulates that $1,500, they retire. And they don't retire early. You have to pay them for the
We cut them a check,
No,
No.
sick time is not paid out,
so you can only use it for, to offset time.
correct?
Correct, only for retirement.
Mhm.
And you can't use all 1,500, I think it's 1260.
Correct. Yeah, it equates to
So,
the six
6
months,
months.
it caps out.
If I accrued 1,500 hours, I can only turn 1260 into retirement. Cause that's the max you can turn in. So your other.
13, yeah, 300.
240 hour or 220 hours is gone.
It seems reasonable that you should get sick day whenever you start. I mean, that's a reasonable request.
And I think a lot has changed since 2019.
Right.
You know, where we care more that our staff is taking care of themselves and not spreading sicknesses. And I feel like our current policy prevents our new staff from staying home to take care of themselves.
Well, more than anything, we want to be competitive with everybody else. That's my concern. We want to hire good people in, and that we don't want that to be the stopper with
Correct.
vacation and sick time,
Yep.
so.
And then the only other change for the personal leave that I am requesting is just changing that increments of, you know, you have to take it in 1 hour. I'm suggesting that we do the 15 minutes. For the same example that Crystalline and Heather had mentioned, we do have employees that work more than the standard 8 hours as part of their schedule. Courtney is one of them, you know, just based on the nature of the highway and water facilities. So if she needs to take off an hour of personal time, or not even, you know, she would have to use an extra hour to cover her 30 minutes that she has to work.
As long as it isn't a burden to account for that, I mean, well, why wouldn't we, right?
Well, it incentivizes people to
Right.
make later appointments
Right.
and
Yeah.
take less
Right.
time off,
I totally agree,
especially when you have children
right,
and.
Totally agree.
More than yourself.
I'm looking at the holiday schedules, everybody happy with Juneteenth off instead of like the day before Christmas?
I haven't solicited that feedback. I did send my suggestions out to staff to get some input from everybody, and no one had made any mention of that. But when I put this together, that was interesting how other places do have additional time off, but what we have versus others, we give our staff those 3 floating holidays to use as they choose, whereas others don't. As you see in that spreadsheet. So if someone wanted to take off Christmas Eve, they can. put it
Yeah,
in.
I would imagine that if you, with the 3 floating holidays, a large majority of people would float them to Christmas Eve. Given this, it just,
Yeah,
I
They
don't know
do,
if that makes sense.
You do that,
The highway guys do that now, they have 3, 4.
You guys have 4 because you have Juneteenth as a floater too.
they have 4, but we then supplemented the floating holiday time. I also want the board to know, this does not change the current Highway Association time off policies. I would imagine that if this was to get approved, we would be having additional conversations with the
To
union.
match that.
So we're not adding anything to the
No,
holiday thing here, so
Nope.
we are the most generous.
correct, yep, that is correct.
Because of the floaters.
Going back, the reason why I did floaters is because you work your day by vacation.
Right.
I mean, we took those floaters out and turned those into the day when you could use them when you need to, sick, vacation, whatever, that was kind of our incentive to get people here.
Floaters also accommodate for different religions. They can take it off whatever they want.
Right.
So I know that was a lot, this is a lot, so that's why I wanted to present it and discuss it in case there were questions that anyone had.
Where you stay down here, increments greater than 1 hour. What did that?
So that's just our current policy, when I was just evaluating for the floating holidays. So for floating holidays, I did not make the suggestion to change that policy. To leave it at the 1 hour, since we're giving the option for sick and personal time to be in the bus then. And again, operationally speaking, this has no impact on how we manage that.
Vacation time can be taken.
That one is different than all the rest. You have to take a minimum of 4 hours and then 1 hour increments thereafter, because if you're taking vacation time, it should be for,
A vacation.
yes,
Yeah, you want people to get recharged.
correct,
Lindsay,
yes.
on the accumulation carryover. I know you struck out April first and it's
Oh, yes,
you have
thank you.
chosen to use their, I think, anniversary date.
Mhm.
I'm not really excited about that one, only because it's nice to have a date that I know when everybody has to be done by. For me, I'm being selfish, I'm just saying, you know, like, for my guys, it's just nice, I tell them like, hey, get to April first to use your leftover, if not. Instead of you and me trying to remind them when
When
to
to use it.
use it.
With,
So that would definitely be a change for people.
Well, not from me so much, maybe around here.
And correct, and that was feedback that I received from others, so that's why that got put in there.
And maybe this could be worded for the.
Correct,
Yeah.
absolutely, correct.
And leave it that way and leave staff over here to do what they want to do.
Well, for you have more people. You know, I mean,
I do, but
and it's
I
handy for you to
We
know.
also have different needs than,
do, but like, I also don't. I also don't want to be one system, just no one in town hall can have this, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
I wanna work it out where I think highway should
That's
say
fair.
April first, and then
that's fine.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, they don't have to all be the same.
if the people over here want to use the anniversary date, great,
Yeah.
but it's just.
Oh, that's fine, that's okay. I mean, that's what's nice about, that's one of the benefits of having a union, especially for a department like yours where, you know, it does operate a little bit different than here.
It does, it's just, for me, peace of mind knowing I'm not going to
Well-
lose 3 people the week I'm
Yeah,
trying to
right,
pay
right,
in the
right.
middle of summer.
Absolutely.
Quite honestly.
Yeah,
That's
and
good
you-
feedback.
That, and you don't have to manage 25 different dates.
Right,
Where are we?
Well, Courtney wouldn't have to manage
I think you're in your second or third, we're going into our 3rd year.
It ends in 2027.
It's a 5-year agreement.
Jared, I did a really good job of only having one thing happen while you were gone, so now we're on 148.
Really?
Thank you for listening, everybody.
And I wanna thank
Good
Lindsay,
changes, Lindsay, by the way.
And I wanna
Really
thank-
good, yeah.
Lindsay
Did
for
spend a
putting
lot of
that,
time on this.
putting
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
together. We started talking about this a couple months ago. And she wanted to make sure that had every angle looked at
Yeah.
and figured out before, so she did a great job, so you did a great job with that, so thank you for doing that.
Important.
All right, you only got one done? All right, so moving on to alcohol, 148 is just an alcoholic beverage permit for Kelly Bush. By standard policy and follow the procedures for that. The 149, this is IC9 for redesigning the town website. This is the same company that that created the website in the first place. They now have different options and different things that they can do to modernize it, make it more accessible. One thing we found in Sufix, and thank you, Sue, our website was not handicapped accessible, which made it that we could have been sued at any moment for somebody who couldn't read it, who couldn't listen to it or anything like that, so she fixed that.
Good job, Stu.
And IC9, and their goal is to make it, again, more user-friendly, archive things more easily. And this $4,000 includes redesign, and it also includes training of staff on how to function and use the website, which now training has kind of been, here's your login, just kind of figure it out. Good luck, you got this. Here's your login, we're here to help.
Don't delete a page.
Don't delete a page, you know,
Can't get it back.
if you're nervous, just hit X
I
and
didn't-
close out. So,
I don't touch.
Can we get,
Any-
engage our new town manager with that process too? I
Yeah.
think that'd be a good thing for them to work with us too. So,
with,
the website redesign.
yeah,
When is this When will this be done?
So the $4,000 is his quote. There is no contract for services at this point. This is just approving, yeah, we're gonna spend, we are allocating this $4,000 for that. And the contract obviously to be approved by the attorney. We don't have a time frame. We just needed to make sure, yes, we have it, and then we'll engage.
It just seems a little like $4,000 to redo our website.
A little light.
It sounds like, I'm just curious what we get for $4,000.
Very
I mean, I remember when we did our first one, it was, I want to say it was lower.
Well, this is the same guy.
Yeah, I know.
He already has the stuff.
Okay.
He doesn't have to create it from scratch.
It's become a more competitive environment.
Yeah. So,
That we're gonna get. what
I mean,
the
we've
town
got-
board
right.
wants. Yeah,
It's a
thanks.
facelift versus a whole new thing.
yeah, so it's not,
He doesn't work for MRB. It's a
Yeah.
facelift and train though, which is nice.
Yeah.
Train is a big
Oh,
thing.
it's just-
so we're not,
I'm sure MRB could find us someone that was.
so what he
qualified.
did, the template that we used was the town of Pittsford.
Okay.
And theirs is very 3D, it's very interactive, very easy to find, and they went through and gave suggestions, and those are in the attachments, they gave suggestions. They pointed out some things that they can do differently to make it more user friendly, but I think because he doesn't have to upload all the information and link everything, it's already there. That probably helps,
Oh,
yeah,
I'll ask the board to consider it.
is it
this
enough?
a T and M thing, so we like it, or is it like, hey, use your 4,000? It's
Yeah.
not so great.
Mhm.
That's.
Yep.
I don't. It's like, you know, I think it's a good thing we do, because our website is stale,
Mhm.
and hasn't been updated in years, but. So I'll make sure it's done. Most
It
times.
gets done and looks right.
Oh,
And then 150 is engaging in GoGov for citizen notification and alert software. This will allow a town of Canandaigua app that people can put on their phones, where they can sign up for any sort of communication, whether it be parks or highway or town board meetings or any updates, their push notifications. It also will allow for, they're working on the next module to allow for internal communications. So Lindsay can send out, or anybody can send out internal communications to staff for reminders or information they might need. One thing we found was we have a lot of passive communication within the town. We have our website, we have Facebook, we have other things that we use.
Yeah.
We were trying to use those to get people again to respond to the citizens committee. Once we pushed out an email to them, we got more responses. This is even more direct than email because, you know, we all get the notifications on our phones. This is that push notification that you'll see. And people have the ability to select because we don't want them to be overwhelmed with that. And have them all the time that they ignore them. This will allow them to choose which ones they want to opt into or opt out of and not receive. Stormwater easements. Do you have anything on this one, Jim?
no, just.
This one's standard, dual road, Blue Sky Towers.
Where's the tower gonna be, Jim?
Right, you know where Matt Koff lives on 21 above,
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
It's like Billy Goat.
But you get there from Dual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they put all that stone and stuff in there. They get the bathroom way down there. They must have to, when they have to go, it's a long way down, right?
Well, once they get.
They're gonna move that
Once
up.
they get in there, it just goes like this.
Yeah.
It's like a 30%. grade,
Wow.
so
It's amazing.
Up that hill.
152 is the property we discussed on Brickyard Road, Airport Road for Sandman. Jim Cole Properties. Their initial proposal was 0.23 acres. The actual drawing, when it came back, it showed 0.343 acres, so a little larger than their initial proposal had. Michelle agrees that it's $10,000 an acre. She concurs with that amount. So 0.343 acres at $10,000 an acre would be $3,430. of a purchase price for that property. Their plans for that are in the attachments.
If they agreed to that amount,
They agreed to 10,000 an acre, so they would have to agree. They would have to agree to that 343 amount.
so we assume they're going to agree to it.
So what this does is we go back and we say we approved it at $10,000 an acre. And since this is what you're purchasing, this is the amount.
Mhm.
So if they say yes, that means we can engage right away and keep them on their timeline. Versus coming back and saying, well, it's really, it'll eliminate the back and forth.
If they were aware of 10,000 an acre, right?
Yes, that was their proposal. Their proposal was 10,000 an acre.
Well, they should be happy. It's not.
It's 3,000 now for
Yeah,
them, right?
yeah, so it's, yeah.
153.
153 fireworks, intermunicipal agreement with the city of Canandaigua, fireworks for July 6th. Contract that was sent over by the city, reviewed by, passed on, reviewed by Nadler. This just allows us to agree with that, and engage in that agreement. Yes, we are funding the fireworks. And the city is funding the associated public works costs of crowd control, police, traffic, any sort of garbage cleanup, restrooms.
We should do a press
Facilities.
release on this.
Once this is approved, we will. And I had to leave because I had another meeting about fireworks. We are locked in for July 4th, 2025 and 2026.
Perfect.
With Young's Explosives. And
Thank you.
we're the first ones to lock in for July 4th, 2026. And he has options for, he had ideas for other places in the town that if we wanted to make it our own and expand it a little bit.
2026 is the 250th anniversary, so.
Yeah, so
We should make some plans.
2026 will be an event, will be, yes, and it's a Saturday,
Mhm, yes.
so it'll be a party,
Big old time.
a party everywhere.
We should own it at our own place.
Jeff Fireworks in Outhouse Park, Onondaga Park, Kershaw Park.
And then we have the,
All the fireworks.
we'll do
Terry's
them all.
house.
Is that on Middle Cheshire Road?
It is on Milton.
So then we'll, we have the bills, the abstracts and all that. I think we're good.
It was
Right.
39.
I got it.
Just my fingers. For that resolution.
Yeah, they've been there. Yeah, they're all
Bad
there.
for
Yep.
It's like road is a county road and you're on a county
Keep it
road.
right today.
Yeah.
On that resolution, I had 93, it's 39.
That's bad.
Okay,
Which one was that?
39, not 90.
It was like one,
It was
It was
one
one of the
early
early-
It
something.
was
Yeah.
early on.
It was the bathhouse
Yeah.
resolution. We'll remember when we get up
Just
I
there.
so
gotta go,
it's-
everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
you bet, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I gotta go to.